Hello and welcome to the Doofcast, a film and TV podcast from Doof Media. My name is Scott Daly, and joining me on the grand opening of his brand new juke joint, it's Matt Freeman. Hey Matt, come on man, let me in.
You were just in here. Why do I need to let you in?
Just being polite. It's just nice.
I mean, if you were just in, this is awkward. This is a Larry David-esque comedic awkward scene. Just kidding, man. Come on in.
Vampires. Is that a spoiler? Does everyone know this is a vampire movie?
I feel like it was advertised pretty heavily as being a vampire movie. And if you're listening to this, sorry.
You know what else it was in the trailer for this movie, which is just kind of cementing my just don't watch trailers of movies you were definitely going to see anyway?
What?
It's in the trailer that one of the brothers dies and turns into a vampire. It's terrible.
Right. I mean, it's not that the whole movie rides on surprise, but like a lot of the trailer is the scenes from the climactic parts of the movie where you're like, like there's not you know what? We're going to talk about the movie in a minute.
That's a good point. We should not talk about the movie before we talk about the movie. I like where your head's at.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to be doing today, though. This week, we are continuing our series, The Best 25 Films of the 21st Century, the name of which I forgot because we took a week off last week, and I've just forgotten everything since then. I believe we've settled on Best 25 of the 21st.
Yeah, that's correct.
We are on movie number 5. I think, which also happens to currently be number 7 on our list.
We were just really doing a great job. Okay, yeah, but the reason for that is that the order has changed a little bit, which it continues to do. So the ranking jockeys, even though we already locked in what movie we're going to talk about. So. Yeah,
and I think that's something we should say here to like declare officially is obviously the list is changing all the time. New people are coming and inputting their stuff. People are just changing their mind about things, yada, yada, yada. Once we announce a film as the next one we're covering, we're going to stick with it. So what happened in between this and last episode was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse jumped above today's film Sinners in the ranking. So we'll be doing that next week, but it's technically number 6 right now.
Yep.
Man, this is so confusing, but also excellent because, as I said, we're here to talk about Ryan Coogler's 2025 film Sinners. This is the most recent film in the list, I think, in the top 25 right now. It's the only 2025 film. And one of the things I do want to make sure we talk about today, Matt, is if this is recency bias or not. Recency bias is a fun thing to talk about because there's no way to answer that question definitively, but we're going to try.
Yeah, we're going to answer it definitively.
Before we get to this week's episode, though, Matt, we did have a quick announcement. Would you like to tell the people about our book club?
Yeah, the Friday of this week, so actually the day this episode is dropping, we will be discussing the book Red Rising over on our YouTube channel. We'll be doing it live at 8:30 Mountain Time, 9:30 Central. As always, we always do it. We try to do it the last Friday of the month or the first Friday of the month, depending on lots of factors. But I'm sure most people know we do this book club, but it's one of the most fun things that we do. In my opinion, I love having an excuse to read a new book every month and talk about it with you. And Red Rising is a book that I had absolutely no expectations for whatsoever. Had no idea what it was about. And came out really having a fun time with it. And I'm really looking forward to talking about it with you tomorrow. So go join us over there tomorrow or today.
Today, yeah. The 7th of November is the date. So yeah, if you happen to be listening to this podcast after that, well, the VOD is available for you on our YouTube. You just can't hang out with us live. But if you are listening to this on your way into work on Friday morning and you want to chat with us about Red Rising, well, please do so.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, let's get into our main segment and our only segment for the week. Let's talk all about Ryan Coogler's Sinners. Matt, what is this movie all about?
Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back.
This movie was written and directed by Mr. Ryan Coogler. It stars Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld, and Miles Caton. I don't know how to say it. Caton, Caton. He plays Sammy, the young boy Sammy. I think it's like one of his first roles as an actor. It is.
Cool.
Yeah, I think he gets the introducing credit on the movie. Matt, Sinners. I saw this movie when it came out in theaters. I try to make it a habit of making Ryan Coogler films that aren't Marvel films a point of viewing for me. So I ran out and saw this as quickly as I possibly could. So I was excited to finally get to talk to you about this. What did you think about Ryan Coogler's Sinners?
Very fun, very stylistic, really great premise, very enjoyable movie. I had a good time with it. I think we're going to spend a lot of time talking about the metaphorical angle of things.
Yes.
But I hope we also talk a lot about just the execution. Like what a good, I just feel like, I guess I just haven't seen any vampire movies in a while. Because I realized while I was watching it, like I just love this genre. I didn't know this about myself necessarily, but I was like, I love vampire movies. Vampires are a fun concept. Great, I had a great time. So yeah, tell me more about your. I mean, you told us you'd seen it before, but what do you feel about this movie?
Yeah, I really love this movie. It's definitely up there as one of my favorite of the year. Although I say that with a caveat that I just don't get to see very many new films anymore. So it's near or at the top of a pretty short list. But I'm enamored by this movie. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. The photography is just so beautiful. The acting, the Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan partnership just continues to pay off in my mind. Like they just work so well together. I think they understand each other as artists perfectly, and it allows both of them to turn out some amazing stuff. I think Michael B. Jordan playing two characters is incredible in this movie. I do want to spend a lot of time talking about the metaphor because I think this is one of the most creative and utterly fascinating uses of the concept of vampires in fiction that I've seen in quite a while. And I'm just so into everything this movie's doing. I loved it. And I revisited it and loved it just as much on a second viewing, if not more. Yeah.
Yeah, the vampire stuff was really fun. I mean, gosh, there's just I was thinking before we started talking, I was like, I don't even know where to start talking about this movie. and that's not, it's not a bad thing. It's just like there's so many different plot threads. There's like a whole like great kind of dramatic setup part of the movie. I don't know the exact splits, but I feel like there's like an hour of movie just of dramatic setup of the characters and the situations and really great monologues and just fantastic scenes before anything even slightly supernatural happens.
Yeah, I happen to have the movie open in front of me right now on HBO Max, and I can tell you that Haley Steinfeld is turned into a vampire at the hour and 13-minute mark.
Okay, yeah,
which is really when the vampire stuff starts to pop off. Obviously, there's bits and pieces of it before that, but this is when it really starts to pop off. So, yeah I mean, I think that's why I think the place to start with it is that because a lot of people have been making a comparison between this movie and From Dusk Till Dawn. And I think the reason for that is because they're both movies that spend quite a while doing a particular thing and then heavily pivoting into this other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing happens to be in both of them. Surprise, there are vampires.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair comparison, but I like as much as I love the hell out of From Dusk Till Dawn, I think this movie is so much more fun and profound and prettier than that movie. So I think that's like the comparison. The comparison is just from like a setup perspective, where both movies take an hour for setup and then go into vampire fun shenanigans. But like that's where the comparison ends in my mind.
Yeah. Well, I feel like From Dusk Till Dawn is sort of absurd, like self-consciously absurd, and like to the extent of being comedically ridiculous.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, I do think as I I don't think it's a bold claim to say that this movie probably was inspired by From Dusk Till Dawn. Like the idea was probably like here's a premise, but we're going to just go in a completely different direction with it and make it way more serious and dramatic. Serious and dramatic while being fun and entertaining.
Yes.
The culmination in the woman screaming, come and get us or whatever, like is just great. Like,
I saw like I was reading some reviews on IMDb and I saw people complaining about that as being like a tropey dumb characters doing dumb things moment, and I was like, no, that moment rules. Or she's just like so fucking done.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I loved it. And you're just like, oh shit. You could feel like, I think you're so right. The thing that I definitely didn't want to do, and I'm glad you're here. I definitely did not want to spend the entire conversation just talking about how wonderfully profound this metaphor is and how I was moved by it, because like that is true, but it's also just a really fun movie.
Yeah.
It's just a really fun movie with some very good looking and very great performers, like having a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like again, at the risk of repeating myself, like we could have that whole conversation about the metaphor, and we probably will wind our way around to that. Yeah. But like the stuff that I was really like having fun with and like, smiling and sitting forward in my seat was, the scene we kind of made fun of at the top of the episode, honestly, where she comes back into the building and has to ask permission, and you're like, oh shit, because the movie didn't really tip its hand as to like what exactly was going on there, and then the doorman, he comes back in from having to go take a whiz, and he's asking for permission, and he's like kind of very reasonably like, I don't know why you're being so weird about this, just can I come in? Just invite me in to the. I'm just trying to be polite, and you're like, don't do it. And like, it's a, like you said, it's a basic vampire concept, but the movie just really kind of it does the thing where it takes all of the vampire tropes and it takes ownership of them. It does them on purpose. It understands why they work dramatically. It doesn't just sort of like perfunctorily check all the boxes. That was what I really enjoyed about it.
Yeah, it's like, and it doesn't. We still kind of have the scene through the Annie character. We have a character who's like aware generally of the rules of vampires, but like I love how organically they were introduced. Is just like, oh, this and this. I love the eating garlic moment a whole lot. Like, do you remember the movie The Faculty?
Yeah,
came out in the 90s where there's basically Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but they were like water creatures. So if they got too much salt and they had that drug that like, I forget why the drug like dried them out, but they all had to take turns around the circle trying the drug. That's what it reminded me of them in a circle, like eat this garlic or I'll shoot you. That's just like really great, really tense, wonderful stuff.
Yeah. Right. And there's a lot of stuff like that when they're in the building and like they find the big pool of what they think is blood, and so they're worried about that, and then turns out it's not even blood, and it's actually a relatively confined part of the movie, where all the actual sort of tactical realism vampire stuff is happening, but it's great.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to get particular, we get to the juke joint like 45 minutes in, and it doesn't break out into vampire stuff till after that, like we said. But for the remaining hour and a half of the film, it's pretty much just contained to this one building. And so it is kind of like, again, from from Dusk Till Dawn, where the majority of it takes place in a bar,
right?
And it uses the space very creatively. And dynamically.
Yeah. Like I feel like let's talk about the juke joint. We'll sort of talk about the movie Onion Wise, like starting in the middle and working our way out. That's how you eat an onion, right? Start in the middle and you work your way out. Yeah. So like the juke joint part was also very, very fun. Even before anything supernatural is happening, you're taking all these character relationships that you set up and allowing these really dramatic, consequential scenes to play out.
Yeah.
With a lot of tension and power dynamics, and that's where a lot of the funnest kind of like the freedom of the spirit of the movie really kind of announces itself there. Not that it hasn't been before that point, but in particular, the scene that we have to talk about, where the younger musician character starts playing the music, and we sort of just enter into a beautiful fantasy of it's magic. It's almost fourth wall breaking, because it's kind of winking at us, but also it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for the magic that the music is bringing. We're seeing the future. We're seeing the past. We're seeing different cultures, and they're all brought together by the power of music.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I really wanted to hammer on in this conversation, is how much this movie is in love with music, and just the concept of music, and specific music, old-timey music, new music, all music. The movie loves music. The characters are either playing music in the movie, or there's music there's soundtrack music happening. But it's a very musical movie.
Yeah, and at the risk of diving headlong into the metaphor, very specifically blues, for lack of a better term, black music, right? Like that is, and I love that scene where he's channeling the past, present, and future of music and culture through music. I do love that it's not just black culture too, right? Like I think we see like a Chinese like performance dancer. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, but like we see like past African music, we see modern music, we see present day music for them. Then we see there's Chinese dancers. There's like he is summoning music from all places and all times, and literally burning the roof off of the juke joint is where the scene goes. And I mean, like, let's just from a technical standpoint, this scene is incredible because it is a oneer. The camera is spinning around, and slowly we are suddenly shown these people that are dressed differently from everyone else, and they just kind of keep coming into the frame as the camera spins around and pulls out. Pretty remarkable just directing there to like like we talked about with Hill House, Matt. It's probably like a lot of people sitting just off frame, like rushing in as quickly as possible, having to nail timing. But the difference between Hill House and this is, in Hill House there were like 6 to 8 people, and in this there are dozens and dozens of people that they have to make sure are hitting their spots and running in and moving out during the course of this oneer. Some of the best like just cinematography and direction of the year, I think.
Yeah, very just a very stylistic movie, right? Another thing I noticed is that it just changes the aspect ratio a couple times.
Yep, does.
Just for fun. I mean, it punctuates specific parts of the story, but what's funny is I didn't actually notice it the first time it happened. I was just like, this is a really wide aspect ratio. And then later I noticed when it kind of changed back, I think. And I didn't think too hard about when and why it was happening, but I'm sure there's, very specific intention behind that, obviously.
Yeah, I unfortunately don't have perfect recall memory of this movie to like tell you exactly when it happens and what it could possibly mean. I do think it's punctuated by important moments of the film. I think one of them is this oneer sequence in which all this goes down.
Yeah.
I don't even like. I'm guessing the roof burning part was just totally CG.
I think so.
So it's like a oneer that fades into. I think that's the end of the oneer when we like tilt up to the ceiling and see the roof burn off.
I would guess so. Yeah.
As a side note, I remember being a child and hearing a song called "The Roof Is on Fire," and I like didn't get it. It's like, why does everyone seem happy about the roof being on fire? Now I know. Now I understand.
It's because of this movie.
Yep.
Yeah. The just one more thing about the music, like it's just funny to me that every time I see a movie that really portrays old timey music of any kind, really, it could be blues, it could really just be any any music of that era, I'm just like, man, I love this music. I love this music so much. I love music from that era. And then I never ever listened to that kind of music ever again outside of that context. I mean, but with maybe the sole exception being like listening to the "Oh Brother Where Art Thou" soundtrack a million times, which was like an extremely popular soundtrack, by the way.
Yes.
But
yeah, and that's essentially like my contribution to that is literally just to listen to the soundtracks of the movies that make me say that, instead of actually just like saying I'm going to be really into like old school blues now. No, I'm just going to listen to the Sinners soundtrack for 3 weeks nonstop, which is essentially what I did for this movie.
Mm-hmm. I haven't had a chance to do that, but I may do that.
It's very good. I mean, besides just like the blues part specifically, just like the score part of the soundtrack is also just like very good. It's just excellent.
Yeah, it didn't occur to me, but I didn't have much time to think about it, so I'll do that.
So we haven't talked about the characters very much because I think we've been talking broad. I love Smoke and Stack as characters. And you know, this is the movie gets to do this thing where we spend an hour setting these people up. So like you said, by the time we get to the juke joint, we have defined who these people are. We have shown what it is they want for Smoke and Stack, like what they're running from and what they're running back to, and the complicated nature of that. I think one of my favorite lines in the whole movie is when Stack sees Haley Steinfeld's character. She's like, I told you I didn't want to be with you anymore. And she's like, yeah, I know, but then you stuck your tongue in my coos. And it's just like she's this very like proper like woman. And fucked me so hard. And that's just like this like spit take moment where the movie just does like this very innocent looking woman says something you don't expect at all. It's just like, I think that's the moment I officially knew is like, I am vibing with this movie very much because I just laughed out loud. It was so great.
Yeah. There's a like that's part of the stylistic irreverence of the movie is that the characters are sort of acting and speaking like modern people, which I think at first I was honestly a little bit like put off because I was like, they're not even trying to do like period accents or behaviors, and then I was like, oh, I think that's on purpose. I think we're just saying like these are meant to be timeless and relatable human beings. And it helps us identify with the characters in the situation, even though it's an old time. It's like, well, really, it's a timeless scenario, I guess, or the themes are timeless. Maybe is another way of saying it.
Yes, absolutely. This is a movie to once again dip my toe into the metaphor. This is a movie about culture, about community, and about the ways in which those things are attacked from the outside and absorbed and stolen. And that is a timeless thing. That is like it's like it's set very specifically in a time right when like blues became rhythm and blues became rock and roll, and then exploded in our country. And it's like that's very specifically set that way. But like it is, I think, a timeless tale of how things operate. That you have people that sing so luxuriously that they draw people to them. And some of the people they draw to them are not good people, and they see what they want and they find a way to take it. And in the vampire metaphor, the way of taking it is to suck their blood out and turn them into one of them. It's all about like integration in a lot of ways. And I find this metaphor like this is once I like. While I was watching the movie, I'm vibing with it. I'm everything you're talking about. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. And then once I like realized the metaphor, I was like, oh, this is fucking clever. This is like a really fucking clever idea to take the mythos of a vampire and then use it to say this particular thing about how the world operates. And that's, I was like, oh, this is why people love this movie, actually. It's because it's getting to do both those things at the same time. It's telling a fun, vampire horror movie, but then it's using all of the tropes of vampirism to kind of further and enhance the metaphor.
Yeah, I have to confess at this point that I don't know if I thought about this as much as you, because I definitely had the experience of being like, we're clearly using the vampire metaphor to talk about something like cultural appropriation, something in the space of theft of identity and erasure of identity, because and a lot of this is, I guess there's parts of it that are more clear to me, and there's parts of it that are less clear. Like, yeah, so we have all the characters who sort of join the vampire coven, if you will, and in doing so, they kind of just lose their identity and they cease to be themselves, and their priority is just, we just got to make everybody vampires, and then we're all just going to sing Kumbaya together.
Yeah,
and whatever we actually cared about. We don't care about our own interests. We don't care about our loved ones. We just want everyone to be like us. And it was really interesting to me, actually, because the movie does, like, the head vampire, whose name is, I'm not going to find it in time, probably, Remick, apparently. Yes. The head vampire, the Irish vampire. He's not portrayed altogether, horribly, right? He's sort of one of your charismatic and tragic vampire characters, where I think the movie is repeatedly asking you to imagine, like, what was his life like? Like, he was clearly a victim of his own past of institutional racism in his homeland, and he's come here, and the internalized pain of that he is now carrying with him. And I that's kind of as far as I got with it, honestly, is I was like, okay, but then, like, what does it mean I don't know, maybe you can kind of help me put some things together here.
Well, I think the key to it for me was that they picked an Irishman for this, because you are absolutely correct that the Irish are a persecuted people. That they are a people that living on their island, and then the British came and then took them over. And then, I mean, there was racism, there was extreme racism towards Irish people for a very long time, right? Like, even in America. Now, I'm not going to compare it to the black people were literally enslaved and treated like subhuman, but I don't want to make that comparison. But there's a lot of Irish racism for a very long time. The thing about Irish people is that they look like white people. And just like the Italians, which I am both Irish and Italian, we were essentially brought under the umbrella of white, and therefore we were okay. And this is a movie about these two men struggling to create a place where black people can be truly free. And one of the arguments of the vampires in the movie is that the only way to be truly free as a black person in this world is to join the collective that is the blood-sucking vampirism of cultural appropriation and integration. This idea that we see this beautiful music you're creating, and we, the white people, right? I think it's no accident that all three of the vampires that we initially deal with are white, two of which are clan members, hear this music, see this beautiful, incredible, powerful thing, and say, we want that, and we're going to take it, and we're going to suck it out of you. And the argument they make, and the argument that all the other black people make as they've been turned and integrated, is like, this is freedom. This is the only freedom that's available to you. You're either going to be these people on the outskirts of town that are ultimately going to be hunted down by these clan members, because that was the plan, right? That, like, they were going to gather all these black people in this one place. They were going to show up the next morning and murder them all. So you can't get true freedom in this world, the vampires in the movie argue, because even if you carve out this space for yourself, even if you take it and carve it out for yourself, they're always going to come and destroy you. So your options are die or become one of us. And I think that does reflect a lot of like I talked about, like when we're talking about music specifically, when we start talking about music, we start talking about music in the 20th century, we're talking about the explosion of rock and roll music, which has heavy roots in Black rhythm and blues music. And the reason why it exploded in popularity is because white people said, I like that. And they started doing it. And like, this is like no shade to Elvis Presley, who I don't think like set out to be like, I'm going to steal Black people's music and use it as my own, because he was like raised around a lot of Black people. And I don't think like he thought that, but like, that's what happened. That is what happened. And so like, it's a really fascinating idea to take vampirism and use that as the metaphor for this process that does happen.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think this is one of those just like moments where I very much feel like a kid who grew up in the 90s, where just certain things feel strange to me, but it's like, yeah, well, the conversation has moved on since the 90s, because I like my reaction to some parts of this movie, like, you know, the white people show up to the juke joint. We know they're vampires. The characters don't know they're vampires. And they're like, you know, the white people are like, sounds like y'all are having a party. We play music. Can we come in? And the Black people in the juke joint are like, I think you're in the wrong place, man. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And the 90s kid in me is like, that's not very nice. That's not very inclusive. Aren't we supposed to be? And I think it's like you said, it's like, no, that's kind of like the movie is saying that they have a right to their own space.
Yeah.
They don't have an obligation to let these people in. And in fact, you know, these people are explicitly not invited in. That like that's the idea of inviting someone in becomes very pointed. It's like, you are not invited in.
Yeah.
You are not invited in to our party. And that actually literally protects us from you. But then they sneak their way in.
Well, and it makes a charge meaning of the people that do invite people in. Like, if this is the metaphor, right, of the vampirism that is that is like, let's just say, mass culture absorbing Black culture and mainstreaming it, like the pointed thought that on some level some people have to make the decision to say, yes, I'm going to be okay with this. And like, I think one thing I like about the movie is, despite the fact that they're vampires, I think especially with like, I don't know if you watch the mid-credit scene where we see Stack in the 90s, still a vampire.
Can I just briefly complain that why did they have that as a mid-credit scene and not just like, that's just obviously the ending of the movie?
Yes.
And I came so close to just not seeing that, because I actually hit pause, and then for some reason that I don't even know, I hit resume, and then I saw the last 5 minutes of the movie, and I was like, well, like, why did they do that? Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, sometimes I agree. They need to just, like, we don't have to play the mid credits game and stuff like that. But yeah, like this, I think he's a vampire, right? He and Haley Steinfeld are vampires, but I think the movie has a very soft opinion towards them. I think there is this very real understanding of like, not forgiveness per se, but like understanding and grace for people that looked at this dynamic of your choices in life are allow yourself to be culturally subsumed or die, and chose the first option, right? And like, it has a lot of sympathy towards those people, I think, because those are fucking terrible choices, and those are the choices essentially represented by our two characters, because one of them gets to live on. He's fully, I love the very intentional fact of the movie that he is fully kitted out in the style of the time, right? He's like the haircut and the sweater and the I think he's got the rings on his hands, like that. Right. That is very intentional, that he is fully represented by what the one of the most popular like cultural expressions, Black cultural expressions of the time period were. And I think that's really interesting. I think it's just really interesting to depict it this way and to talk about things this way. Again, I think one of the charged things that unlock the movie for me is the fact that the Irish vampire at the beginning is being chased by Native Americans, right? They are the ones hunting him down. And this is another culture, essentially given the option of integrate or die. And they are fighting back. At least this group of them are fighting back.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I was trying to remember, like, what is the so first of all, were they literally like soldiers for Al Capone in the backstory?
I think they worked for the gangs. Yeah, I mean, I think the story of the movie is essentially like they stole from both the Irish and the Italian mob in Chicago, and then pinned it on each other, so they would fight amongst themselves, and then they ran away.
Okay. And that's kind of why I was bringing it up, is we also have the idea of basically racial conflict that they sort of literally profited off of. Like, I think there's an interesting that's kind of what I mean when I say, like, I haven't quite nailed things down yet, because these two brothers are not like, they're kind of anti-heroes, right? They're not just like, these are great guys, everybody should be like these guys. It's like, no, they were violent, gang soldiers who probably did a lot of really bad things. Like, I think the movie implies pretty strongly that, like, even before they went up north, they were violent guys who did a lot of really bad things.
Yeah, their reputation preceded themselves, I think. Yeah.
And it, like, so then you take it, like, again, like you basically just said, they stoked racial animus between the Italians and the Irish and stole from them, and then came back and used that, basically used their, it's funny, I was going to say ill-gotten gains, and it's like, if you steal from gangsters, is it really like, it's kind of a wash, right? Anyway.
Yeah. But they just had, like, the only possible way they could carve something out for themselves is by stealing from other gangs. Again, gangs of people that were historically persecuted peoples,
right?
That successfully, if you want to call it that, like, integrated into white society. They steal from them to try to carve out their own thing and build their own place. And we, of course, that's the final moments of the movie are kind of realizing that that was not freedom either. That was not, that these Klan people were going to come back and they were going to wipe them out the next morning.
Yeah.
And so, like, the idea that, like, there's no freedom, there's no escape, there's no, like, no matter what you do. These are two people that I think understanding is they've been kind of hardened by their life, that, like, something caused them to become violent and angry. I think one of the scenes I really, really like is when, I believe it's Stack, and apologize for continually confusing the two Michael B. Jordan twins and which one is which. Stack is the one with the red hat. He's the one that's more fiery and angry, who, like, in kind of a shocking turn, sees two people, like, breaking into his van, and he just shoots him. He just shoots him, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And, like, we get to see the two sides of this guy, where after he shoots him, he goes to the local doctor and, like, throws a bunch of bills down on the table to make sure they get stitched up, but he shoots one of them and then he shoots the other anyway, because like in my world there are consequences for your actions, and you did something bad to me, and so you're going to get punished for it. And so he exists in this world of, like, violence and consequences, and it's like, this is the world turned him into this. And one of the most interesting conversations they have is in the juke joint before all hell breaks loose. The two brothers are arguing about what type of payment they should accept here, right? There are basically two forms of money these people have. There is actual United States dollars, cash, and then they basically are paid from the plantations with, like, tokens, which is a thing that actually happened, right? This a post-slavery thing where you lived on a plantation, you were paid in, like, plantation coin, and that was only spendable on, like, specific town shops. That's the only place they would take them. It's the only place that had value, and that's how they kind of it wasn't slavery per se, but you were kind of stuck. Like you could only you only had money that would only work in a certain place. You were trapped. And so there's an argument between the two brothers of should we or should we not accept this stuff. And one of the brothers, Smoke, and his wife Annie are very much of that. Like, this is all these people have. We need to help these people, and we need to like. We can't deny them this place we've made just because they don't have money. And then Stack is like, no, we need money. We like in order to have our freedom, in order to for this place to exist, we need money. And so we have to be willing to deny people, even if they are our own people. And that is a really interesting like argument in this ongoing, I guess, culture war of like, how do Black people exist in this world, and what is the right way to handle the problems of being a Black person in a country that's so rooted in racism. I don't know. It's like a fascinating way of presenting that idea.
I feel like there's a lot of stuff like this where maybe the reason why I feel uncertain in making like, you know, declarative statements about the point of the metaphor is that the movie is I think in situations like that posing you something more like a question than an answer, sure. Right? It's not really telling you this is the way to conduct yourselves. I mean, it gives you these, again, it gives you these like morally flawed and sort of compromised protagonists. It gives you a morally complicated antagonist who has a lot in common with the protagonists.
Yeah. And
everything plays out in a way that ultimately feels more like tragic and sort of like avoidable, but also, you know, that's just how things are in this world. Like this is a world where everything's going to be taken from you one way or the other. If it wasn't the vampires, it would have been the KKK the next morning.
Yeah.
So you're just like, God, this sucks. This is sad. Like, yeah. But then the movie's kind of making you say like, well, we explained to you why every step of this process happened the way it did.
Yeah.
How could it have been different? And I find that very, it's almost like uncomfortably challenging to be like, well, I don't have the answer. What you're supposed to tell me the answer, movie. Yeah. I come to you for the answers.
No, but the movie doesn't have the answer either. Cause I think on the one half, like it is almost saying that you are selling your soul, to, you know, like you're a Black person, your blues music is really popular, you sign with a record label led by white people. Like, are you selling your soul? Because becoming a vampire is trapping your soul, right? I think that's actually a really interesting dynamic of this, is the idea that what becoming a vampire is not like trading your soul, but rather your soul just gets stuck in the body and cannot be released. So like I was saying selling your soul, and I was like almost immediately backing off on that because I don't quite think that's what it is, but it's just like your soul, it's a lack of freedom. Like it's
yeah.
You have your soul doesn't get to be free. It's trapped inside you.
Yeah.
And so like this idea that Smoke at the end dies, but his soul gets to be free and gets reunited with his wife and his daughter, who died. I think, was it a miscarriage or died maybe quickly after birth?
Yeah, I got the sense it was shortly after birth, but I don't think the movie is too clear on it.
Yeah. Versus Stack, who like again, that's what I really like about the final moments of the movie is that like Stack didn't come in and be like, I'm here to finish the job, I'm going to eat you. He's just like, they have a conversation and it's like, that was the best night of my life. And Stack goes, yeah, me too.
Right.
Like, yeah, that was the last time I got to be with my brother. That's the last time I was free, he says. Yeah. And so I don't know. It's like, it's not, I don't think the movie is judgmental to any of these characters and what happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even the vampire, right? Even the Irish vampire, like I love that moment of the kid Sammy is saying the Lord's Prayer at the very end of the movie, and the vampire just goes, yeah, I know this one. This is what the people said when they came to my land and stole my people. Like,
yeah,
it's even in his final moment, it's like he has been a person that has just been fully like taken over and subsumed by this thing, and like you pity him, but that's who he's become, and that's why he's survived, essentially.
I like that. Yeah, I that's a good point. I think you're helping me put this stuff together. I'm enjoying listening to you explain the metaphor to me, and because I mean you've had more time to process it, obviously, but I think there were certain elements where I was just like, I almost feel like I'm going to contradict, like I just couldn't put it together in a way that made sense, and you're helping me. I love that the vampire would sort of switch between an Irish accent and just like a Southern accent.
Yeah.
And it's another one of those elements where at first I was like, why can't he keep one accent? And it's like, no, like that's the point. Is he's
code switching.
Exactly. That's perfect. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, he's choosing in this moment to remind you, like, hey, this is actually where I come from, and this is actually who I am, and even this Southern good old boy accent that I'm doing is a fake accent that I am putting on to blend in with these Southern people. Yep.
It's great. I love it all. One detail I really like also to really, I think, nail home the characterization of the vampires in this movie is so interesting. When the vampires are killed, like for example, when Smoke kills his wife Annie because she made him promise to do it, right? She said, like, I have a date with my daughter, so don't let my soul get trapped. Like everyone else, like both Haley Steinfeld's character and Stack are like horrified that he would do that,
right?
Like and like to the point where Haley Steinfeld like runs up and is like, no, why would and it's just like it is like. I find it interesting the piece of them retains people that like legitimately, and I think the argument they're making is not like a trick or a dodge, but they're just like they've maybe tricked themselves, or they maybe just earnestly believe in a world that has done with us what it does to us, this is the only way.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how you don't understand that, and it frustrates me how you choose opposite of that.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I love that one, I think, unique sort of trait that these vampires have is they are just prioritizing survival.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they're now like soulless psychopaths. They're basically just like, look, the most important thing is that we survive, and we can actually all survive together, and we can be together, and all I have to do is rip your throat out and drink your blood and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
And it's like from that perspective, totally baffling that someone would, kill a vampire. It's like, why would you kill a vampire? We're good now.
Yeah. We're free.
Yeah. We're and yet they know. I think that's the fun contradiction, is at the end he like acknowledges that he's actually not.
Yeah.
But just before we move past this point, like I love that the movie does a little trick on you where, when he kills the head vampire by smashing him in the head with the guitar, and then the sun comes up and kills him, and all the other vampires die. I had the perception at that moment that like, oh, so this is one of those movies where you kill the head vampire and all the created vampires die, and that's what we're watching happen. And you see like 99% of the characters out there screaming and burning as they die. And I was like, and that settles it. They killed all the vampires. And it didn't even occur to me until the mid-credit scene. No, it's just because they all got caught in the sun.
Yeah.
And the two characters who survived, they were just in the building. They didn't get caught in the sunlight, so they were fine.
Yeah, you probably missed it. Annie says specifically that like this isn't the type of thing where killing the head one frees the other. I think they do say that like it hurts them. So hurting the head one hurts the others, but killing them does not turn them back human. Yeah.
I literally did hear her say that, and then when it happened, I was like, oh, I guess they're just dead. I guess she was wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, they set that up so that the ending could play out the way it does.
Yeah. Well, and the way the head vampire dies too is like, again, to reinforce this idea of this is almost a tragedy, and you understand why this happens to them. But he like, as he dies, he like looks at the sun,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, as obviously the first time he's seen the sun, and I don't know how old he's supposed to be. If he's supposed to be from when the British invaded Ireland, he's like 1,200 years old,
right?
Or something. Like, right. But so he looks at the sun, and it's not, and it's not like, this is terrible. It's just like, oh, this is beautiful, and I'm free.
Yeah.
I am free, and it's so like I just love all this so much.
Yeah.
And then, man, I do love. We haven't talked about Smoke's like final stand where he just murders all the clan members.
Yeah, that was delightful.
It's great.
This case full of all of the war gear you could buy in 1900 or whatever.
Well, and yeah, it's like there's a moment in the movie where they like debate running outside to go grab that stuff because they left it in the truck outside when shit starts going down with all the white people, and then they don't end up doing that. And it's like, man, this would have been helpful against all these vampires, but oh well.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't paying enough attention to that, but
it's a very like throwaway line of just like the box is outside or something, and you don't know what's in the box yet, but it's grenades and automatic weapons.
Tommy gun, yeah. I don't know why I said 1900. It's if they have a machine gun, it's not 1900. The Wikipedia says it's 1932. That sounds better.
1932 is when. Yeah. And so the one last thing I definitely want to talk about in regards to the metaphor, we've talked about how the Smoke or the Stack character is. The thing I find interesting is the Sammy character. So this is a guy who we see him as an old man, near death, and he's got his own juke joint, right? He's got his own blues place. One of the things you see, I don't know if you noticed it, is there's like his face is on the wall behind the stage, and it's like a shadow of his face with the scar across his face from when the vampire swiped him. So this is his own blues place. He's up there playing very like classic traditional blues music. And so this is a guy who looking at the two choices of die or conform, didn't really do either of those things. And so I think Sammy is ultimately Coogler saying this dichotomy is actually false. This is what they want us to believe, is that our only choices in this are being wiped out by these people or being consumed by these people. But we can make spaces for ourselves. We can carve our own path and stay true to ourselves and our community and all that stuff.
I like that. That connects for me with his arc, where we start with his religious, preacher father, basically harshly condemning the fact that he would go, play music for people and, be a sinner, right? That's kind of the where the title comes from, and the idea here is like you're just giving yourself over to sin, and you're participating in fornication and everything, all these terrible things, and then we see the movie does the nice buttonhole for us, where it opens with us seeing him coming into the church all torn up, and then it ends with that, and so the whole movie, the question is kind of forming in our mind, like, what is he going to decide? Because he's holding the neck of the guitar, and his father is like, yes, son, you've made the right choice. Drop that guitar, drop all that sinful music, and join the church. And he has, and then the movie does show us, like, he didn't drop the guitar. He didn't give it up just because there's this cost that comes with it. And again, like, very challenging kind of idea to be like, you're really not going to give up being a guitarist after you found out that being a guitarist carries with it a risk of summoning vampires who are going to kill everyone that you love. And his decision was, no, I'm not going to give it up. I'm going, this is who I am. I'm not going to surrender, just because there was one little vampire incident.
Just one little vampire incident. No big deal.
Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, I'm kind of being funny, but like, you feel proud of him, like, for making that choice, for kind of sticking to his guns and his identity.
Yeah, it is interesting how, like, religion does play a role in this whole thing, because that is another, like, I think this is the idea of this movie is like, and the reason we spend so long at the beginning is because we are showing the creation of a community, essentially. Like, these people go around town collecting people. They're collecting members of their family, essentially. And then we get this beautiful moment at the juke joint with, for a brief moment, all these people are together. It's part of what the magic of the scene with the singing, but also just like when the camera just kind of whips around and sees everyone just being comfortable and having fun and working together. And it's just like, this is the dream right here.
Yeah.
And then outside that positioned is other people saying, no, don't do that. You need to come to my community. It's only with me and my lot that you'll be safe. And that's, the vampire representing kind of this cultural appropriation, white culture consumption, we'll call it. And then on the other side, we have a religious character who's saying, no, come be in part of my community. This is the only place you'll be free. And it's just like, I think it's interesting that we attack it from those two different angles. Obviously, one of them is much more of a focal point of the film than the other, but that doesn't mean it's not there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's. I like that. You're totally right. Yeah.
What a good movie this is.
What a good movie.
Well, I like this movie.
I do too.
So, what do you think? Let's talk about the recency bias question. So, like, obviously, it's impossible to answer this, right? Like, do people I guess the way to ask this question is this truly one of the best 25 movies of the last 25 years? And like, my answer to that is I don't know. I mean, I like it quite a bit. I wonder, it's the kind of thing where the movie's so new that like seeing how the movie ages and how appreciation of the movie changes over time is just impossible to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's all very impossible, right? I mean, I don't. Can I get a little give a little sidebar on like the genesis of the whole Doof movies thing?
Sure.
Just because I don't know that I've ever really talked about that. I have always been fascinated with the concept of like having a favorite of something, because I think in like a deep and philosophical way, we don't even understand what we mean when we say that.
Sure.
And that's kind of fascinating because it's like, but you just said it was your favorite. And it's like, well, that like right now it's my favorite. and we're just such like contextual beings is the truth. And at one point in the past, years ago, I was like, I want to explore this. And I built this software, a much simpler app than the one that is now doofmovies.com. And I was like, I just want to find out like what is my favorite book. Like I want to answer that question. And I made what I made is sort of a different conceptualization of it, where I was like, it's going to select 2 random books from all the books that I've ever read and pair them head to head, and I have to pick in that moment which one of these 2 books do I like more in this exact moment. And and then I just did that like 200 times, maybe more actually. And I came and it used like basically the chess scoring algorithm, the ELO algorithm to give each movie a score. This is why you see a score on the doofmovies.com, by the way, is because in the background of the algorithm, it's still doing some record keeping and ending up with something like an ELO score, even though it's no longer actually doing the head to head voting.
Sure.
So I bring all that up to say, like, even for one person, what I realized is like there is just no such thing as a robust favorite. Like you can very much prefer A to B and B to C, and then sometimes you can prefer C to A, which violates every tenet of like game theory, but that doesn't matter because humans aren't mathematical constructs. So this whole digression, maybe people find interesting because they might be curious about why we did this in the first place, and that's part of why we did it in the first place. But I mainly am just saying it to say, like, is it one of the best 25 movies of the 21st century? There's no possible consistent way of answering a question like that. But what we see is that a lot of people who saw this movie, 18 votes right now of the proportion of people who covered Doof movie, who are voting members of doofmovies.com, They voted for it and they put it really high in their list.
Yeah.
Above a lot of other movies. And that's a really strong signal. It's number 7, right? Number 7 out of 25. That's a really high signal. So
yeah, not only is it in the top 25, but yeah, it's in the highest.
Yeah, it's
third.
It's one of the first few movies that we covered, right? Yeah. So like, does that mean that it's going to persist? Not necessarily.
Sure.
And that's also fine.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes I still say that Dune is my favorite book. But if you look at my ELO ranking, no, it's not. So it's like that's I think it probably won't be regarded as the number 7 movie of the first 25 years of the 21st century, but will it be regarded as one of the great movies of the first 25 years of the 21st century? I think so.
I like that. I like that approach. I think so too. I think Ryan Coogler is going to just age into one of our greatest directors. And I feel like a special connection to Ryan Coogler because I don't know if I've told you this. The first movie he directed was a movie called Fruitvale Station. This was a movie. It was based on a true story, like a biographical drama about Oscar Grant, who is a young man that was killed on the BART in San Francisco, who was shot by a cop, a young black man who was shot by a cop, a BART officer. I watched this movie, like this was back in the early 2000s or 2010s where like I was really, really into movies and was single and had no children. And so I was doing movie stuff all the time. And one of the things I was doing is like, there was an early screening of this movie and I got to go to it. I knew nothing about it. It's just like, oh, there's a free screening. Go see a movie today. And I went and got to see this movie. And Matt, I had not heard the story of Oscar Grant. I was in a movie theater. It was me, my friend, and then like, we were the only white people in the theater. Uh-huh. It was like surrounded by black people. And this is a movie that like you leave the movie very angry, right? It's an angry movie. This man didn't do anything wrong and was shot and murdered by an officer of the law. And it's like one of those movies where like the lights come up and I'm like, oh, all these people are furious by this incredible movie. And hey, look, there's 2 white guys sitting in here. No one, to be clear here, no one said anything or was mean, or everyone was nothing but friendly. But it was just an interesting experience of like the closest I have ever gotten in my life to maybe get a bit of what it feels like to be a black person when you're like in a quote unquote white space, right? Yeah. It was a really interesting experience, and I was very moved by the movie. And so like I've been following this guy since then. And then of course the next thing he does is Creed, which is the sequel to one of my favorite movies of all time. And Creed is an excellent movie. Then he did the Marvel stuff for a little bit. And, there's like a lot of good in there, but I hope he doesn't do more of that.
Yeah. Not my favorite. I mean, those aren't my favorite Marvel movies, but
yeah. I mean, there's plenty to like in Black Panther. Mm-hmm. And it's like the stuff that like, I think if you look at Black Panther, you can see the parts that Ryan Coogler directed and the parts that he passed it off to the second unit to do the action sequences as a Marvel is wont to do.
Right.
But I'm like, he makes this movie, and this is, I don't know if I've told you this, there was a lot of hubbub about this movie when it was first released because Ryan Coogler cut a deal with the studios unlike anything we've really ever seen in Hollywood.
I have not heard about this at all.
Essentially, he negotiated with the distributor of the film. He gets first dollar gross. He gets final cut privilege, and then 25 years after the release of the film, it reverts to him, and he owns everything. Huh. And that is the type of deal that like nobody in Hollywood would ever make. Yeah. But they made it with him. And there was like a lot of gnashing of teeth when this movie came out that was like, this is going to set a terrible precedent. All directors are going to want to ask for this stuff right now. But like, if we think about the metaphor of the movie and we think about him making this choice and demanding this and getting it, isn't that perfect, right? Yeah. Like, this is mine. You can't take it from me. I'll let you borrow it. But in the end, this is mine and I'm going to take it back. and it's incredible. It's incredible, and that he got them to do that, and whether it's one of the top 25 movies of the the century so far, or will end up when there's 75 more years in the century, 25 years from now, this baby's his, and everything that happens with it is belongs to him. And I think that's like the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had not heard that. That's very cool. I mean, it's funny because it's like, yeah, well, if a director has the pull to make that deal, then they should make that deal. And if they don't have the pull to make that deal, then the studio won't accept the deal, which is, everybody has to kind of negotiate for what they can get. But no, good for him. That's awesome. I like that idea a lot, because like it's gotta really be painful to like create a work of art that then gets owned by a corporation forever, and just watch them make money off of it forever for the rest of your life. And yeah, sure, maybe you get a cut, but there's something that rankles even about that phrasing of like, I get a cut of my own art.
Yeah. Well, and then you have to release your art into the world and listen to two white men in their 40s talk about how impactful and beautiful the metaphor was.
Yeah, right.
Even though we've never experienced even a piece of what this movie is discussing.
Right. Thanks for making the movie for us, Ryan.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I thought it was really interesting, like the freak out about this, because one of the other things that I haven't mentioned is this movie did like really well at the box office. This 2025 has been a pretty up and down year overall as far as box office. This movie made $366 million worldwide, which for a rated R original film is pretty remarkable in this year. So
yeah,
he's going to get it all back, and it's going to be worth quite a bit, I think,
for posterity. I guess like this was a movie that had incredible word of mouth.
Yeah, it did. It did.
I can't, but maybe like Top Gun Maverick was the last time that I felt like the zeitgeist had chosen a movie that everybody needed to go see in this fashion.
I like that. I don't. I mean, the easy answer for how that happened is just it's a really good movie, right?
Yeah.
It's a combination of the metaphor stuff and the message and the fact that the movie is just a fun time at the theater.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, just people loved it because it's a great, fun movie. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Anything else you wanted to say about Sinners?
No, just stop doing that post-credit scene thing. That's all.
There is a post-credit scene. Like a truly post-credits. It's
Damn
not important.
I didn't.
It is literally just Sammy playing "This Little Heart of Mine," which is the song playing at the church when he busts in at the very beginning of the movie.
Okay,
so it's not like you didn't horribly miss the main conceit of the film.
It's kind of funny that it didn't even occur to me to check that. Like that would be the thing that you do in a movie like this. But
I mean, you say in a movie like this. I don't know if I agree with that. Like.
Yeah, I meant in a movie that already has attacked you with a mid-credit scene. That's
I see. Okay,
specifically what I meant. That's why I was taken off guard. Is I was like, this is like an artistic, dramatic movie. What are you doing with the mid-credit stuff? I'm hamming it up for humor's sake, though. It was fine. It didn't ruin anything for me.
Yeah, man. All right, Ryan Coogler, one of the best directors working right now. Michael B. Jordan, absolutely one of my favorite actors. I find him just incredible in everything I've seen him in.
Yeah.
He likes anime though. That's like really the only strike against him is he's like really into anime.
That's makes me like him more. Sorry.
What?
Yeah.
So he directed Creed 3. Ryan Coogler only directed the first Creed. I can't remember who directed Creed 2, but Michael B. Jordan, like I think it's his directorial debut, directed Creed 3. And there's a lot of moments in the boxing sequences, Matt, where
it's anime.
Yeah. And I'm just like, damn it. But I have to like it because I love Rocky so much. So
yeah,
I have to like anime.
I think anime. I honestly think anime. Well, first of all, okay. All joking aside, like The Matrix is anime, and The Matrix defined action movies for every movie after The Matrix. So there is a lot of anime in modern action. I'll just leave that there for you to contemplate on the tree of woe.
Have I mean, the answer is probably no, but have you been following like what's happening in 2025 with anime?
Um, no, uh, kind of, but I guess I don't know what you're talking about specifically.
So there's just been 2 movies released in the United States this year, 2 anime films that are like taking over the box office in a way that I don't think anime has ever really done before.
Okay.
I wish I could remember the name of the films, but they're anime names, so I just kind of push them out of my brain.
These are just movies that are like out right now or this year anyway?
This year, yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to look at the box office mojo to see if I can find any of these, but like just have performed very, very well. One of them says, I think, has the word I should have looked this up before I started talking about this. One of them has like the word demon in it.
Demon Slayer something.
That's the one.
Okay.
Yeah. So these movies opened like very strong and like have raked in the money, and it's just like in a year that superhero movies kind of underperformed, and there wasn't a lot of other stuff outside of that. And like our old genre, like Jurassic World, I think did okay. The Jurassic movie, like we have all these old aging like tentpole franchises, and they all kind of underperformed a little bit. And then you just have like anime that's doing so. Okay, one of them is Chainsaw Man, the movie.
That's it's funny. That's what I thought, just because I know that right now Chainsaw Man and Demon Hunter are really popular anime TV shows.
Yes, the movies are blowing up. In the United States.
Yeah, so. That's so interesting. I mean, there have been a lot of reasonably well received anime films, right? And like there've been like tons of Naruto films. Like they just keep making them. So they must be making money, otherwise they wouldn't keep making them. But I've never heard like, oh yeah, it's a chart topper. So that's interesting. Also, not entirely surprising. I mean, I think like when we were kids, anime was, extreme nerd shit. Like to be into anime as a young person when we were young, you basically had to have like gotten your hands on a VHS or something. Something
or the terrible dubs on Toonami.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a very narrow subset of anime.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like every kid knows several anime, like because they just watch them on Netflix or whatever, or just on the internet, and they're all the clips are all over YouTube and everything. So it's just the cultural place of anime has really shifted in a way that I guess I haven't thought too hard about, but
yeah.
Now that I am thinking about it, I'm realizing like, my kids have a lot of like passive familiarity with a ton of anime that they just got from the internet, basically.
There's definitely a cultural shift in general. I mean, like a good comparison I have is that like when I played the Pokemon games when they came out in middle school, like that was a nerdy thing that nerdy people did. That was not, and now I feel like Pokemon, like the generation after us is just like everyone knows Pokemon.
Right.
And it's just like when Pokemon Go happened, it was the weirdest experience in the world for me because I was like, wait, I thought this was like niche and nobody knew about it, but like now everyone's running out in the street to catch Pokemon. That's wild. And I think this a similar thing is happening with anime, where it's just like the generations after us, it's just like a normal thing to watch some anime. There's various levels of into it and not into it, of course, but it's becoming much more culturally normalized, and I think we're seeing it break containment in a way that we haven't before, which is bad, and we need to do something about it.
No, I'm excited about this. Excited.
Do you know they're not going to have the next K-pop Demon Hunters movie till 2029?
Oh my god!
Like, I understand these movies take a lot of work, especially when you're doing like a different kind of animation style, but like, man,
it's going to be a whole new generation of kids.
Like they need to like it's so funny how much they dropped the ball with this stuff because they like weren't ready for any of it. They had like no merchandising deals, so like none of the K-pop Demon Hunter dolls are going to hit until like Q2 next year.
Oh my god.
And it's just like it's just like, y'all really fucked this up.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will find a way to make plenty of money off of it, but
yeah, that is funny though. That like 2029. I mean, that means that the 13-year-olds who are the perfect target demographic for this movie will be 18.
Yeah.
And completely different human beings.
Yep.
Although they'll probably still want to watch it, to be honest.
I bet you they will. Yeah, we'll see. I just think it's funny that, like, I'm sure you have people sitting in C-level spots in these companies going like, no, like, faster. How can we do this faster?
Yeah.
We need it now.
Right.
I'm sure they'll find a way to do like cheaper spin-off stuff.
TV shows and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But will that damage the brand? I don't know. Will it? I don't know. I don't understand franchises anymore. Do you know there hasn't been a Star Wars movie in 6 years?
Oh my God.
Crazy.
Remember when Disney bought Star Wars and they were going to make 3 movies a year for every year for the rest of our lives?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know it has been 6 years. That is an insane thing to say. How dare you?
The Rise of Skywalker came out in 2019, and there will not be another Star Wars movie until next year, which is The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Wow. And that's not even like... It's not even like a real Star Wars movie.
It's just a long TV show.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm like upset with them taking a break, but it's just surprising me how long of a break they took. I mean, to be fair, they also produced like 49 shows in that time period. But
yeah, I think that's why that sounded so crazy to me, is that we got 2 seasons of Andor of the best stuff ever in that time period. So it's not like I didn't get any Star Wars.
Yeah. You got peak Star Wars, and now it's over. No more.
Yeah. Fascinating.
I still think they're making another Rey movie. I think. I don't know when that's coming out. Isn't there's also like I know like the Patty Jenkins like Rogue Squadron movie got canned, but I thought there was still like a upcoming movie about fighter pilots or something. I'm trying to look this up.
Like the X-Wing something.
Sounds familiar. Let's see if I can find out what's going on here. Yeah, Star Wars Starfighter. It's directed by Sean Levy. And it's it was Ryan Gosling. That's what I was remembering. That there's a space opera fighter pilot film set in the Star Wars universe starring Ryan Gosling.
Okay. I hope it's just an adaptation of X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah.
Everyone loves me reading Wikipedia on air.
That is what I come to podcasts for. All
right. No information about what the movie is whatsoever.
Okay.
Daisy Ridley may be in it as well as Rey.
Okay.
So I guess it takes place after the events of the latest trilogy.
Is Ryan Gosling? I want to see Ryan Gosling in Star Wars. That'll be fun.
Yeah. He'll be like a badass fighter pilot.
Yeah. He could save it. He could save Star Wars.
So there was a game called Star Wars Starfighter that was not X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. It was where you... Hey, Siri? Stop it.
That's interesting.
It was a PlayStation game about like you played as the Naboo fighter, I think.
Oh,
so I don't care about. I hope it's not going to be that, because I don't want to see Ryan Gosling in a terrible Naboo fighter.
No. If he's not in an X-Wing, I'm not going to watch it.
It says it's set 5 years after the events of the Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
I hope somehow that Palpatine returns again.
Yeah, me too.
Is that the dumbest thing that's ever happened in Star Wars? Is somehow Palpatine returned? It has to be, right?
I think so. I mean, it's sort of the capstone on a movie that aggressively threw everything about what they were building in the trash, and was just like, people are stupid, our customers are stupid, and we hate them, and that is it was the pinnacle of that. So.
Yeah. Hey, you know what series does not appear in our list at all?
What?
Any Star Wars movie.
Yeah, that That makes sense.
I'm trying to go through the list and see like where the first Star Wars shows. I'm gonna guess that The Last Jedi is on this list somewhere, but I don't know where it would be.
I don't know.
We need a search function in here, Matt.
Well,
just a little.
I have a search function on the back end.
Also, I've been told to relay to you that people cannot add the movie Her to the list.
That's a good point.
So if you could just go ahead and fix that.
Maybe I'll do that right now.
Well, I've got to number 208, which is Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, and I still have not seen... Oh, here we go. Rogue One, A Star Wars Story is 218. Interesting.
Okay.
All right. I just realized I wasn't talking, and we're still technically recording the podcast. I think we're gonna wrap that up here, folks. That was a fun little dessert of a conversation after talking about Sinners.
Yeah, I didn't anticipate that happening, but enjoyed
Sometimes you just got to go with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But next week on the show, we will be heading back to number 6, the current number 6. It could change, and we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I believe this is the first of the 2 movies, right? Yeah, because I think the second one is like Across the Spider-Verse. Or around the under?
It's through
within.
Wait, see now I'm confused. But oh god,
into no. Wait.
No. The first one was Into. The second one was Across. So wait, which one are we talking about?
Into.
Okay.
The first one.
Okay. Good.
I'm so sorry. I've confused us all. When is that third movie coming out?
Never.
Do you think it's wild how popular Spider-Man is? Maybe we should save this to talk about next week, but it's wild to me how consistently popular Spider-Man is. This taken from, I both heard this on a podcast this week and also saw it myself, of just like trick-or-treating and like looking out and seeing how many kids were dressed as Spider-Man despite like there being no new Spider-Man property right now.
Yeah. He's just such a fun character. There's so many reasons for it. He's an underdog and he's a good character. And then the web slinging is just incredibly compelling and unique.
Yeah. And they have the pretty awesome distinction of making a lot of good movies in this in this universe.
There's
a few stinkers, but for the most part, they're very good.
That's a good point.
I can't help but notice that Spider-Man 2 is not on our list at all, which is a little upsetting.
It is very strange.
Personally.
I'm bothered by this fact.
All right. I think we're going to wrap things up, Matt. As we said, next week, Spider-Man... Into the Spider-Verse. Sorry, I just so happened to see Across the Spider-Verse on our list, which is number 54, and it just screwed me up again. Into the Spider-Verse, the first one, the one that came out in 2018.
All right. If you're not already subscribed to the Doofcast, we encourage you to subscribe and ensure you never miss an episode. You can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, pretty much anywhere else podcasts can be found. And
if you like what we do here and want to support us, please make sure you become a patron of Doof Media. You can head on over to patreon.com/Doof Media, pledge at any of the available levels there for a whole bunch of bonus features, bonus episodes, bonus privileges like voting in our book club. The vote is going on right now for next month's book, which will be decided at our book club tomorrow night on the 7th at 9:30 p.m. So come hang out, watch Red Rising, or talk about Red Rising, and then figure out what book we're doing the month after that. I gotta say, man, I looked at the poll, and unless there's like a pretty dramatic shift, I think we have our book pretty well in hand already. Okay. There's quite a big lead for one of the books. I won't spoil that for people.
Yeah.
The only way you can see that is by becoming a patron.
Yeah. And you could flip the apple cart if you show up and you vote during the recording session, by the way.
That is true. It would take quite a bit of you, though.
Yeah. Well,
right now,
it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, please consider rating and reviewing the Doofcast on Apple Podcasts. Each review helps us get more exposure and introduces new people to the content that we make here.
All right, folks. Next week, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, our 6th film of our 25 films of the 21st century. We'll see you then.
My name is Doof, and you'll do what I say. My name is Doof, and you'll do what I say.